All right. In this session, what I want to do is cover options. I'm going to create a new template here from scratch. And we'll just give it an assembly name. We won't worry about anything else. Keep it down to the minimum. All right. What we have a lot of times is situations where you want to use the same set of instructions for subpart numbers. All right. And so we might have a part model number that a small variation in the model number. I don't want to create a whole set of new instructions for it, but I do want to have like a branching operations in those instructions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to insert a couple of extra instructions. Well, I might as well do a couple more here. Insert. And so what I want to do is, for Model A, I want to do steps 1, 2, and 3, and for Model B, I want to do steps 1, 2, 4, and 5. All right? Just because there's a little bit of difference between the different models. So how I set that up is, first thing I need to create the options. I go into the Edit Options icon, and I click right, and I say I want a new mandatory option. Okay? And I'm going to call this model number. Again, it can be anything you want. Okay. And I'm going to rename this one here Model A. And I'll rename this one here Model B. Okay, just to keep track of. So, again, I've got something called model number, and I've got a Model A and a Model B. Alright, if I was really clever, I would have said T, but I'm not. And I've got a checkbox here that says, hey, I'm going to show that to you every time we load or not. That's okay. I will say all right. So now what I want to do is on step 3 here, I'm going to say Edit Options. And on the option number, I only want to do that for Model A. All right? Not a problem. Go to step 4. Go to Edit Options, and I say, I only want to do this on Model B. Not a problem. And step 5, Edit Options, Model B. Okay, so now what's going to happen is when I run this, these particular steps, this checkbox will only get run if the option is selected. Okay, and it can be overlap. I can have some things that everything gets done, some things that are not. So if I go in and run preview edits to see what the user sees, when he starts the job, it's going to ask him to select the model, and he'll select Model A. I'm going to close that. And so what's going to happen then, if I look at my list, I see steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 have magically disappeared because they're not needed for the Model B. Let me exit that out. All right. Now let me go ahead and run this again. Oops. Preview edits. All right. And I go to step 1, step 2. I get to that step 3. I haven't set the option yet for it. So it's going to say, okay, well, what is it? This time I'm going to select Model B. Okay, and see step number 3 has magically disappeared, and I've got 4 and 5 in there in its place. So I go ahead and do that, and we're happy. All right, let's go back and show you a couple other things on the Edit Options. That's kind of a simple version of how it works. It's a very powerful tool. When we create options, we were working with the mandatory option. It made me select what model it was. All right. We also have a non-mandatory option. And what happens when we do a non-mandatory option is, at the beginning, it starts off just the same. It was made for ensuring change notices. Okay, so I've got a selection 1 and a selection 2. I can rename those if I want. But what happens is, when I run this, it won't force me to choose. All right, so if I do preview edits, all right, I'll still get the information on the Model A and Model B. The other one's just kind of sitting there silently, okay? It doesn't really care about it. But what I do for Model B is I may have a particular situation here where I want this step to be run for, let's say, maybe it's a first article inspection. All right, so I'll say edit options and do only if it's a selection 1 on an ECN. All right, see how it's a different color here? So now that can be part of my instructions for the 99% of the people who don't need it. They never even see it when they're running in jobs mode. But if I turn that option on because it's a first article or some type of an engineering experiment, they get those extra instructions wherever they are in the whole process added. Okay. A couple other things just to make sure we've got complete coverage here. We can link these to electronic data links. I'm not going to demonstrate that this morning, but you can actually hook that into an external database and have the external database supply the options. All right, so in other words, it's going to be an option just like these, but instead of the user saying it's Model A or Model T, that information will come from the database. So like perhaps your sales orders will actually trigger it directly. We can also trigger it internally from a data link. A lot of times we might have one template actually forcing the options on the next template, so we don't have to enter the options on all the templates that somebody's using. They can just enter it once and it gets a domino effect going through everything. Right? Of course we can delete, move, rename the options, this type of stuff. It's pretty straightforward. It's an extremely powerful tool. Once you get past the initial learning curve on ProWorks, you can use that to save yourself a lot of redundant instruction processes. Thank you very much.